welcome to One Girl in All the World, a Buffy the Vampire Slayer rewatch podcast where we recap each episode in order and discuss. I'm Ashley, Buffy super fan.
Kimmy, Buffy newbie.
You can find us on all major podcast apps, YouTube and Instagram, with new episodes on Tuesdays. Alright, so we are talking today about New Moon Rising. And I'll tell you...
was an episode.
It was an episode. And we are bringing you commitment today because
Ashley's bringing you commitment. I have the day off. I'm chilling over here, but poor Ashley got no sleep.
No sleep because of the LA fires, and I am still watching the
See, she needs to evacuate
stuff. So I have that on my phone and on off screen.
We're on standby.
Yeah, we're on standby. So, but we're still bringing you the podcast. That's the dedication. So, but everything's fine. I don't need to go anywhere yet. So. All right, so yes, New Moon Rising.
Shit got real.
Oz is back.
Oz is back, and he thought he was cured.
So New Moon Rising originally aired May 2nd, 2000, written by Marty Noxon. Okay, not surprising because it's a good episode. Directed by James A. Connor, who we see often. And the synopsis is, Willow and her friends are stunned when Oz returns to Sunnydale, claiming that he still loves Willow, and has his full moon frolics under control. Who wrote this?
Full moon frolics? Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah. Meanwhile, Willow tries to sort out her feelings for Oz and finally tells Buffy about her new relationship with Tara. But when the moon sets, transformed Oz is captured by the Initiative, and an unlikely source breaks his alliance to come to the rescue.
Was it that unlikely?
Yeah, I know. I was like, meh. I don't know about that. I don't know about all that, but...
Oh, yeah, this was an episode. It was a lot. I was waiting for Willow to finally tell Buffy or somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, okay, so I was going to say something, but we'll get to it. All right, let's jump right in. So we start on campus, and Willow and Tara are walking and talking. They're kind of talking... Tara, mostly, is just talking about getting a cat. Like, kind of like getting a shared pet.
Tara's like, how can I further this relationship? How do I,
Yes, we need to get a pet that we can share.
Tara is my spirit animal when I'm dating people. Like, how do I make this go?
How do I make you mine?
How do I keep you forever and ever?
Get your share responsibility for another living thing. Let's do that.
And then they start hand holding.
Yeah, they start holding hands. It's like
ever.
The first outwardly show of affection that we see.
PDA people. Mm-hmm, yeah. I was into it.
So that's a big step in itself before anything happens in the episode. And even though she's more of a dog person, Willow is down with getting a cat to basically sneak into their dorm, into Tara's dorm. And she says, she wants her dorm to be, or her room to be Willow friendly, because she wants to make sure she's not allergic to cats. Yeah. So she obviously plans for Willow to be over there a lot.
Long term.
And they're on the way to the Scooby meeting.
Right. Yeah. So that's the other thing, too. So Tara's now going to Scooby meetings.
She's going to Scooby meetings. So we go to Giles for the Scooby meet. And
everybody's there.
Giles is a seventh wheel.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's 3 couples, and then it's Giles.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's Riley and Buffy, Anya and Xander, and Willow and Tara. Even though they don't know that Tara and Willow are a couple. But,
nice
and then it's Giles. Yeah, so he's the 7th wheel. So basically, Buffy is talking about how it's weird that they've had no action on patrol.
It's slowed down a lot, yeah. But then Riley's like, oh, weird, because it's the initiative, fast or whatever, yeah.
The initiative hasn't slowed down.
Nonstop.
He says they have demons coming out of their ears. And they think, obviously, this leads Giles to believe that it could be Adam. That could have something to do with this.
Yeah.
Riley says the initiative is still really busy, and Anya is her normal self of being kind of like a smart ass, and Giles is kind of like, I don't appreciate your this or that, but they're totally interrupted by Oz just walking in the door. Just showing up out of nowhere. Were you shocked when he opened the door and it showed him?
Yes, actually, because I thought if he were to come back, I don't know, I didn't think he would just show up. I thought maybe...
Now they just walk through the door.
After you leave the way you leave, maybe you should give it a heads up instead of just disrupting everybody's life like that.
Yeah.
But hey.
But that wouldn't be as good television. No. So, yeah.
And actually, I feel like that is very Oz the way he did it, so.
Yeah. So yeah, he just comes in. Everybody's shocked.
Wants to talk to Willow alone.
Yeah, he says he's gonna go to Devin, see if Devin has somewhere he can crash. Because remember, he like dropped out of school and lost
Tara's
his
like,
room and
I can't deal with this right now.
Yeah, so Willow says, yeah, we can talk later. Oz leaves, and then Tara like kind of
she can't deal with confrontation,
and like, oh no, your boyfriend is back, and so that means I'm probably like kicked to the curb. So she's gonna leave. And she can't really say anything in front of the others, but she tries to get Tara not to leave, and Tara's like, oh, I gotta go, and Tara runs off.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So everybody's kind of like in shock that Oz has just shown up again out of the blue.
Yeah.
Oh, and in that, there was the credits. It was also in there. That.
Right.
Like when he first walks in to go to the credits, and they come back, and then everyone starts talking to him. So that's that. So in the graveyard on patrol, Buffy and Riley, this is a really interesting scene. So Buffy and Riley...
Interesting scene.
Okay, Buffy and Riley are talking about Oz and Willow. Obviously, if you remember, she says they had a really bad breakup, and Riley says, I remember. Because remember, Riley came into the picture more so, like, right when Oz and Willow broke up.
They're breaking up. Yeah, and for him, he just sees it as, like, a rough breakup. He doesn't know the gravity of the situation or all of the backstory, and Buffy's been hesitant to tell him.
Yeah, so this conversation continues, but they do fight a demon really quick and take it out pretty quickly, and Riley calls for the initiative to come and pick it up. And they just keep walking. They keep going back on, keep going on patrol. And so Buffy comes out with it that Oz is a werewolf.
Yeah, and Riley doesn't take it well, and like, Buffy should have expected this. I mean, he's been groomed to be like demon bad, you know?
Yeah.
And he's trying to come around, like he's trying to be more open-minded about things, but like, yeah, this is going to take him off guard, obviously. And a werewolf sounds pretty bad. So
he said he's just basically just worried about Willow. He doesn't want her to get hurt,
physically hurt. Yeah. And Buffy kind of calls him a bigot.
Yeah, she calls him a bigot because obviously Buffy feels attacked. That's like an angel thing. Like,
well, that's the thing too. So Buffy kind of was taking this personally, and Riley doesn't even know that. Like, oh God.
Well, he said, I didn't think Willow was that kind of girl, and Buffy's like,
Buffy took that personally.
What?
Yeah,
What does that
what kind
mean?
of girl? Yeah, I mean, honestly, like that. Regardless of her, an angel, like that's an interesting way to word things. Yeah,
I get what he was trying to say, but that was a stupid thing.
It came out very not cool. Yeah.
So they kind of clash about saying that he's it's funny because this is how Buffy used to be. Demon good, demon bad, human good. Yeah. That's the line. And that's very much the place that Riley's coming from at this point. And Buffy's trying to see now that there is, she does know with Angel, yes, but even beyond that, she's starting to see that there is a gray area.
Yeah, definitely.
And definitely touches a nerve. It definitely touches a nerve with Buffy. And then she explains how love isn't logical. And like she knows, like, I haven't been logical in love. And they kind of just...
No, like most people aren't logical in love. We all make stupid decisions.
Yeah, so they kind of shelve that conversation for now.
Yeah.
So Willow's dorm, Oz comes over. And
he wants to show her something.
So they go outside. They look up at the sky, and she realizes, oh, it's a full moon.
And then he's like, oh, I guess you stopped keeping track. And I was like, what's she supposed to do? Like, keep track forever for you? Like, what? Yeah. Boys are just they just expect the world to stop for them sometimes. And I just find that so interesting.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I guess you stopped, counting all the, the days and all that. So, yeah, so...
Because how long has he been gone for? Like a year?
Not that long.
Oh, okay. 6 to 9 months? Long enough.
Yeah, probably around that.
I mean...
So... He says that... I was just very happy for him that he hasn't changed. He said he found, like, basically a cure.
Yeah. For
the werewolf. And
this is really what he wanted. He didn't want to be a werewolf.
He wanted to be able to control it and not be a danger to people because he has almost killed people and Willow and others for, multiple times. So she's very happy for him. And he does kind of like get to the point then that now that he's gotten over this, he has control over it. He's here because he can now be there for her. And he said, I asked Xander and he said you didn't have a new guy.
Yeah, which is true.
Very careful wording there. And Will says, yeah, no new guy. But he does say he's not going to push her. He knows what he put her through, but he wants to get back together, and that's why he's there.
Yeah.
So he lays it all out on the line. No beating around the bush with Oz, which is good.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
He's
but
honest.
I feel like maybe he could have left things differently if he wanted to pick things back up.
Mm-hmm. So go to the woods where we never really get confirmation of this, but like, it's a werewolf, is it not?
Yeah, it looks like one and it's not Oz, right?
No. So. Yeah, so Graham and like some of the other initiatives are patrolling and they are attacked by a werewolf.
Yeah, and one of them gets attacked.
Yeah, one of them gets killed, and Graham is kind of like knocked, he's knocked into a tree, and he kind of sees what's happening, so he kind of gets a look at the demon, but then he like passes out.
Yeah.
So they very strategically put these scenes in a certain order, because we're at Willow's room, and Oz and Willow say they talked all night, so then we know it wasn't Oz.
Yeah.
Because they've been together all night, and he didn't change.
Yeah.
So he explains that basically how he did it. He went to Tibet, and he takes he has talismans, herbs, and like meditation.
And he learned how to keep his inner cool.
Yeah, she's like, right, because you were so nuts before. Like nobody was cooler than Oz, so now he's even more cool.
I don't know how that's possible.
He had to reach that level to not let not have like the lunar cycles have control of him. But they talk about how they both changed. And Willow even says, even though like you've changed, I've been stuck here, but I've been working on my magic and all of this. It's morning now, and Willow suggests to go get some breakfast. And he says, well, we can sleep for a while. And Willow's like, no, we should go get breakfast. Let's not have a confusing
less confusing option.
Waffles. Less confusing waffles.
Yeah, so that's what she said. That was really cute.
So
and he looks confused, and I'm like, really, dude? Like, what do you?
I mean,
do you really think you could just pick back up, even without Tara? Mm-hmm. I feel like had that not been part of the equation, like you're expecting a lot.
Yeah, and he is being communicating very well with her though. Like he is saying,
I appreciate
what he wants.
That. Yeah,
he's not pushing her, but he is saying like, hey, this is what I want. Yes. So, but yeah, it's like, okay, you've been here for like 4 hours or whatever, one night, and now you should just get back together. But she's gonna go like brush her teeth and everything. She goes to the bathroom and leaves Oz in her room. So there's a knock at the door, and Oz gets up and goes to open it, and it's Tara, and she just surprised to see him there. It's like early in the morning.
Of course she is, and then she makes a connection that he was probably there overnight.
Which means there could have been bumping uglies. Who knows?
Yeah.
And Oz says, you can come in. Oz doesn't suspect anything at this point.
No.
And Tara, again, kind of gets really flustered and nervous, starts stuttering, and says, no, I'm going to leave, and does. And then when Willow comes back in, Oz tells her that your friend, who's Tara, stopped by but didn't stay. So Tara's like, oh, great. Willow's like, oh, great. Tara probably has thoughts about... is making assumptions about what, finding Oz here in the morning.
Of course.
Yeah. So at Riley's, Buffy obviously stayed the night and they're waking up, and immediately she's like annoyed with him still, like about the conversation. And finally he's like, okay, let's just talk about this. And she's saying that there's degrees of demon.
Yeah.
And he's like, degrees
not all
of evil.
Vampires are bad.
Yeah. She's like, for example, not all vampires are bad.
And then he's like, name one.
Yeah, and then gets interrupted because then Forrest comes in and says that Beta Team, which is the team that Graham was with, got hit. One of them was killed, but Graham's okay. But they have to go, hunt this demon now.
Well, and then Buffy's like, well, what kind of demon was it? And Riley's like, does it matter?
He was more like, does it matter?
Yeah.
Like, okay, butthead. Like, damn. Yeah, I didn't like that, honestly.
Yeah, me neither.
She's a slayer. You tell her what she needs to know. So he leaves, and Buffy's just there. So Buffy gets dressed and goes home. So he goes to their dorm, and Willow is just kind of sitting on her bed, deep in thought, 'cause she has a lot to consider.
She has options.
And Willow tells Buffy that Oz stayed all night. So Buffy's like, ooh, tell me all about it. What happened? And told him that, it was a full moon last night and he didn't change. And she just can't believe that he actually found a cure.
Which is pretty cool.
And weirdly, Buffy's not even she's like, so what's the problem? Well, he did cheat on you with this woman and tried to kill you. And all this stuff. Like, that's besides the point.
And then he just left, though. Like, he just left, and they've had no contact. I mean, that's a pretty big thing, too.
Yeah. For a good long while. Mm-hmm. But she says it's complicated because of Tara.
And then Buffy's like, oh.
Tara likes Oz? Oh, no, it's not Tara that likes Oz. You and Tara. You like Tara.
And then she's a little flustered about it. Like, I don't feel like Buffy meant to come off as...
I think she was shocked and surprised.
Yes, exactly.
I don't think there's been no inkling that Willow had any interest in women or Tara to her.
Find out your best friend that you've known for however long, and it's just kind of like, whoa, okay. Yeah. I need to acclimate to this situation.
Yeah, I think she's just shocked because...
Yeah.
And to be fair, Willow has really gone out of her way to make sure that nobody thinks anything is going on with her and Tara.
Yep. Because she's not ready, or she wasn't ready to...
Yeah, so, this is going to come out of the left field for Buffy. But then Buffy gets herself...
She composes herself.
And says, of course not. Like, I'm glad you told me. Like, it doesn't freak me out. I'm glad you told me. Yeah. And just says, what did you tell Oz? And she's like, I haven't told him anything. Like, he's, like, very familiar. And when we started talking, like, everything started coming back. So she's very much torn.
And she doesn't want to hurt anyone. And Buffy's like, someone's going to get hurt. Like,
you can't really...
So it doesn't really matter what you end up doing. Like,
you can't really avoid that, unfortunately.
Yep.
Feelings are involved. Okay, so we go to Spike's crypt, and he is sleeping.
The scene is funny.
He's taking a little nap, and he feels like a presence in the crypt.
Yes.
Yeah, and he like grabs a hand, and he opens his eyes, and he's like, it's Adam.
He tries to punch him.
Oh, okay. He was like, he still had his eyes closed, he was being all macho, like, I'm gonna kill you, and then he's like, okay, you're big. You're pretty big and strong looking. But yeah, then he does try to punch him. Doesn't even faze Adam. And he's like, ow, like it hurts, Spike.
Yeah.
And so Adam has come to talk to Spike about solving each other's problems. Like, maybe we can, like, take care of each other's problems. Yeah, like, team up and just, we have mutual kind of goals here.
Yeah.
So at Tara's, Willow goes over to Tara's to make sure that she knows that nothing happened with Oz. They only talked, which Tara is relieved to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
And this was sweet when Tara says, whatever happens, like, I'll still be your friend and all of this, like, it's okay and all of this. And it was sweet. How she was like,
very sweet.
I'll still be your friend.
She just wants Willow to be happy, but I feel like she's willing to sacrifice her own happiness to make sure.
She is, yeah. Mm-hmm. And Willow kind of gets upset then. Like, of course, like, the idea of, like, having Tara not in her life at all because of this is, like, upsetting to her.
Yeah.
And she's just very confused. She's like, I don't know what he means to... I know what he meant to me then. I don't know what he means to me now. Life was getting so good. You're a big part of that. And I just don't know what to do. Yeah. And she starts crying, and they hug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tara just wants her happy.
Yeah. So on campus, Oz is looking at a poster for, like, a band. I think it's called, like, the String Cheese Incident or something was the name of the band.
Didn't even notice that. Nice. Okay.
The bulletin board's looking at. And he thinks he smells Willow. So he goes to turn and says, Willow, but it's Tara.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, sorry. I thought you were Willow. And she's like, oh, you are re-enrolling in school here? He says, yeah. She's like, okay, good. That's good. I'm sure I hope you and Willow will be happy. She's like, great. So he's like really staying here. So that's not good for me. And he says to Tara, like, that you smell like her, like, a lot. And that you're wearing her sweater. And, like, Oz starts getting a little bit suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, Tara starts getting nervous. And very much guilty kind of looking and is stuttering and says she can't talk about it. And that leads him to be like, there's something to talk about? Like, is something going on with you guys? She didn't tell me anything.
Mm.
And this is the most, like, emotional I think we've ever seen Oz. He kind of, like, grabs her and is like, tell me, like, is she in love with you?
Freaked out.
Yeah, he freaks out. And then his hand starts to change.
Yep.
Like, in the middle of the day, he starts turning into a werewolf. And then we see his face and he tells Tara to run because he is starting to change because he's lost control.
That was pretty crazy.
Yeah. So he chases Tara. She, like, runs into a classroom
and
manages to kind of evade him until she, like, throws a chair. At first I was like, couldn't remember that this little part happened, but she throws a chair at him and he's like, ah! And I was like...
But then he gets tranked.
But he got tranked at the same time. And then we see the tranquilizer. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Because at first I too, I was like, damn, that chair really took him out.
I know. Like, sometimes you would be surprised. Like, I feel like in School Hard, I'm like, sometimes they, like, throw the most random things. And it's like, like they threw that little cart, like the janitor's cart at some vampires in School Hard. And they're like, boo, like a bowling balls. They all, like bowling pins, they all went everywhere. It's like, okay, well, it's not that good of a... Like, it's not going to do that. So, yeah, they do that sometimes where they throw something and it's like they wouldn't do any damage. I thought that was one of these. But no. The initiative shows up in time because remember they went hunting for that demon that attacked Graham. And, yeah, tranks Oz. Yep. So they rush in, they bag Oz up, and they try to tell Tara, are you okay? And Tara's trying to be like, that's a person. Like,
yeah, like, don't take him.
Don't
like,
take him.
She's trying to stop them, but she can't.
Yeah. And they are kind of just... She can't really get it across, and they kind of overwhelming her, and they take Oz away.
Yeah.
So at Adam's lair, Adam and Spike kind of continue their conversation. And Adam is saying basically that he needs casualties on both the human and demon sides. It's not enough for just not humans to be around. Interesting.
Yeah, like, I don't really understand this conversation, to be honest with you. Like, I don't really, and maybe that's the point. Like, we don't really know what's going on yet.
There's some that we understand and some of it we don't. So his thing is that he needs casualties on human and demon side. Okay. Mm-hmm. He wants to get rid of Buffy, which the Slayer, which he figures is the plus for Spike.
And then Spike is like kind of funny because he's like, I don't know if you've noticed this, but she tends to win.
She has this nasty habit of winning. Because basically Adam says that the humans need like a champion, they need a leader. And she could do that. She could like rouse that in them and she could lead them. And so we need to cut that out. So by me, I am able to get this result and you get the Slayer killed. So it's a win-win for both of us. That's how it kind of says it. And Spike is like, you know, it's not that simple. You know, she's like kind of hard to kill. But he does say that, okay, what if this happens and if we're able to do this, I get the chip out. Okay. And I like the part where Adams has scouts on her. He like promises Spike that the chip will come out. And he says, you were a Boy Scout? He's like, parts of me were. I thought that was a pretty good line. That was like the best Adam line so far. All right, so at the library, Willow is just reading, I guess, studying.
Chilling.
Yep. I think she might be like laying on the books too because she didn't sleep. And Tara rushes in to tell Willow that they took Oz, that Oz changed in the middle of the day, which Willow's like, what? It's like the middle of the day. And that the initiative, he chased her, he tried to attack her, and the initiative came in and took him. And so Willow rushes off to like get the gang because she has to save Oz. And so at Giles, she's like basically telling the gang everything that happened. They're trying to make a plan.
Yeah. And like, he's trying to get a hold of Riley, but he's not answering his pages.
Yeah, they can't get a hold of Riley, who obviously would be a big part of this plan because they need to get into the initiative, and he's part of the initiative. So they're kind of waiting to see if he can like get them in. So at the initiative, we see that Oz is kind of like in this cage, and they're all around him. Riley's there too, and werewolf Oz. So he's still a werewolf, and they're doing tests on him to see if he's the same demon that attacked Graham. And Riley's kind of saying, I don't need the test. Like, I can tell the thing's like a monster. It's like a killer. And he almost is going to like shoot it. Mm-hmm. And then Oz changes back into human Oz. And he's like, whoa, like, I know this person. Like, I just saw this person like yesterday. Mm-hmm. So they start doing tests on Oz. They like sedate him heavily and start doing tests on him. And when he comes to, Riley says, like, okay, stop. Like, I know this guy. Like, we can't do this. Like, he's not a threat now. He's not a werewolf now, so you leave him alone. So Riley does try to stop them, and they kind of just remove him.
But they're like, no. They're like, obviously we need to do tests on this.
Yeah, they're going to do experiments on it.
This hostile.
They remove Riley from the situation. Yep. At Giles, Buffy, Willow, and Xander are going to break into the initiative. If you remember, Buffy and Xander have done it before, and Willow doesn't want to stay behind because it is Oz. And then Anya and Giles are going to hack into the power grid to kind of power down the initiative to make it easier to get Oz out. And then Spike just shows up because they're like, we're going to have to just go in without Riley because we can't get a hold of him.
Yeah. And we need to do something.
Yeah. So Spike just shows up how'd you get in? And he's like, the door was unlocked. You should be careful. Someone dangerous could come in.
That was funny.
Yeah, so he offers to show them the back way in of the initiative.
Yeah.
And he says, yes, I do need money. Because, they're like, how much you want money? He's like, yes, I do want money. But also, remember, like, they held me. So I like to, like, mess them up. Like, I'm going to do whatever I can to, like, go against the initiative. I'm going to do. So they cautiously agree to go with Spike. Because it's really the only option they have.
So something we missed before going back to Giles's place is that one of the tests the initiative did was shocked Oz. And it like triggered him to transform. So they get that it's related to negative stimulation, his transformations.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So like, yeah, not I think that's necessary they had to do. It's just a science experiment to them.
Yeah.
Okay. So back at the initiative,
Oz is like in a, I don't want to call it a cage. It's like it's just a glass walled in.
Yeah, the same thing Spike was in.
Yeah.
Like a glass prison cage.
And he's like cowering.
Prison thing. Yeah, he's naked, too. Yeah. And he's like shivering in the corner.
He's got bruises all over him. Oh my God.
Yeah, because he's been, zapped and all kinds of stuff. And Riley kind of sneaks over, opens it, gives him some clothes, and is like, come on, let's go. So he's trying to break Oz out. They don't get very far. No. Yeah. They don't get very far, and they are caught.
And then Riley also gets jailed.
Yeah, Riley gets put in the brig. And the McNamara, the colonel,
the colonel guy,
McNamara.
Sure.
He comes to see Riley and just says, you know what, you were an amazing soldier before you got involved with these people, like Buffy's people.
Buffy's made you disloyal and you now abuse command.
Yeah, and they're anarchists. So if you keep messing around with them, you're gonna like be remembered as like a traitor, and you have to choose who are you. Like you have to choose them or us, basically.
Yeah.
And then they're anarchists. So in the woods, they're leading. Spike is leading them to this like back door, and it's interesting because Adam is watching. Like Adam's just kind of sitting back and observing this whole operation.
Mm-hmm.
He's like
on camera.
Packed in. Yeah, he's watching it all. He's like plugged into his like brain on the side, which is kind of cool. And he's also watching Anya and Giles hack into the system. He's just letting it happen. He's watching it all. And
I'm curious to know like what the conversation with him and Spike ended with. Like, did Spike say, yes, I'm going to help you? Is he going to be on Adam's side? Like, what's going on there?
I mean,
I guess we'll know more to come.
It seems like it, yeah.
Yeah.
So we see that Giles and Anya manage to cut the power.
And Anya gets really excited and she puts her hand up and Giles just kind of looks at her. And she's
slap
like,
my hand now. Celebratory slap my hand. And they do it. They're both like, ow. Those two are so funny.
They have
a funny little relationship. So they get in. Now the initiative, basically, Spike leads Buffy and them to the McNamara guy where he's sleeping.
Right.
So Buffy kind of threatens him, like, you need to take me to him.
And then he's like, Riley, and Buffy's like, what?
Yeah. Okay, now we need two. And then it's like, okay, it's 2 for 1 then. Because we need to get them both then, now. So she then, like, threatens him, takes him to get Riley, gets Riley out. And
then they get surrounded.
Well, when they're in front of the brig, she lets Riley out. And he's like, if I leave, I can't ever come back. Like, this is the moment for Riley. That he has to cheat. Because he's been, like, kind of straddling the Scoobies and the
even,
initiative.
like, the colonel guy was telling him, like, you can either help us take Oz down or you can just be discharged as a traitor, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big decision.
Yeah. And she just, like, looks at him. He's like, I just wanted to hear myself say it. Like, but I've made a choice. So he goes with them. So he's totally, like...
Way to go, Riley.
Yeah, he has put his back again. He has turned his back on the initiative.
Yep.
So they go to get Oz... And they do, like, other people find them, and Buffy's trying to holding that guy captive. And she said, okay, I'm going to kill this guy if you don't let Oz out. Like, if we should know anything about Buffy, she doesn't kill humans.
It's just a threat.
It's just an empty threat. They should, like, know it's empty. She ain't going to do nothing.
Well, they think she's so evil. They think she's, like, some sort of sorceress that, like...
I guess. If they paid attention, they would know that.
They don't, though. They're stupid.
She wouldn't kill him.
They show time and time again how stupid they are about things.
That's true. Giving them too much credit. Yeah, so Oz is out. Willow rushes to get him, and he starts to change when she comes up to him. So he's like, get away from me, get away from me. And Riley kind of leads them out. So they all go, they get into the elevator, and they leave out of Lowell House. And the last people out of the elevator are, well, McNamara's in there with them, Riley and Buffy. And Riley, he says, you'll remember like as a traitor for this. And
calls him an anarchist.
He punches him. So Riley punches McNamara and he says, I'm an anarchist. Instead of like a traitor, I'm an anarchist. So he's totally like, drank the Scooby Kool-Aid here.
Well, better than the Initiative Kool-Aid.
So yeah, we saw what happened there with that Kool-Aid. All right, so we go back to the old high school where Buffy and Riley are hiding out from the Initiative. So
everyone's
basically,
split up.
Yeah, they've all like scattered. They're too easy to find in one big clump. Buffy says, and they kind of come back. Riley's kind of processing all of this. He's like, wow, like now, Buffy says, you started your day with Wheaties and you ended the day as a fugitive. So a lot happened for him today. And he's processing it all. He doesn't know what his next move is going to be. They just know they're going to stay there tonight and like reconvene in the morning and figure out what they're going to do.
But he doesn't get to being wrong about Oz, which was a big thing, you know?
Yeah,
like he's kind of starting to see that it's not just black and white. There's gray.
Yeah, and he did like multiple times try to stop them and save Oz. So he did see what they were doing was wrong.
He doesn't even really know the whole situation about that either.
He knew it was wrong. So he was trying to like help Oz. He said, I was being a bigot. But he's like, no. Like, obviously she was taking it very personally. You weren't. You were just weirded out. And he says, yeah, I see that it's not all black and white.
Also, the way she was talking about that, she's like, you just had some temporary wiggins about a new situation. And it made me think, like, she's like, oh, that's kind of how I felt with Willow.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So maybe that situation made her more understanding of
I think so.
His reaction.
Yep.
So he was wrong about Oz. And basically, she says, I need to tell you some stuff.
Yeah,
about my past.
She's finally ready to open up. Good for her.
About my past, and you're not going to really like it, I'm sure.
No.
You're not going to like it. And he says, you can tell me anything? And she's like, I hope so. We'll see. So she's obviously going to tell him about Angel. About Angel. Mm-hmm. But we don't get to see that conversation. So we go to
I have a good feeling about it.
So we go to Oz's van. And they always say goodbye in vans with Oz. He's always in his van.
And this was so sad because he's like, I can't, like, it turns out the one thing that brings the werewolfness out of me is her. And it's just like, that's so heartbreaking.
Yeah. He says he can't really be around her because she's like moved on and it's too emotional for him. So he can't control the wolf around her. Yeah. And she basically says she's happy. He asks if she's happy. She says, yes, she is happy.
Yeah.
And he's kind of says, what we were kind of alluding to before, he's like, I can't believe I just thought you would just be here waiting.
Yeah.
For me.
I mean, what were you
she's expecting? Like, I was
for
waiting.
A while. Yeah.
I did like what she talks about here, this whole little speech, when she says, you know, you showed me letters, but I had nowhere to send them, and I couldn't live like that.
Yeah.
And that, you know, he'll always be with her. Like, she says, if I turn the corner in Budapest when I'm old and you're there, I won't be surprised. This is like a really sweet little scene.
Because they'll always be part of each other's lives in, like, at least some sort of capacity, even if it's not, like, direct contact. But, like, they had, you know, they shared something really special together. So that's always going to be there. Yeah,
and even though they're, like, not together, like, now, it does feel like they leave the door open for the future.
Yeah.
Possibly. Mm-hmm. And they just basically, again, hug and cry in the van. Mm-hmm. And he's going to leave now. Pretty much now, which he says like 5 times in this episode. So Willow has made her choice.
Yep. Also, though, I mean, didn't you say before at some point that Oz was getting written out of the show because he had other stuff going on?
And he already was written out.
Okay. But I mean, like, he wasn't going to come back, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so. So we're at Tara's, and Willow shows up, and Tara is kind of resigned to the fact, in her mind, that she chose Oz.
She's just staring at the window.
Yeah, she's like, you know, she talks to Willow, she's like, you just have to be with the person you love. Like, she's just like, very sacrificial. She's like, you know, I knew if he came back, that that was gonna happen. That you were gonna get back together with him. And yeah, she said, you need to be the person she loved, and Willow says, I am. And so obviously she means she loves Tara.
So she loves Tara.
Chooses Tara. Mm-hmm. And, she was sorry about this whole situation. She put her through a lot.
Yeah. She wants to make it up to her, though.
Make it up to her. Yeah.
Right now.
Right now. Blow that candle out.
That extra flamey candle gets blown out.
So, darkness. End scene. So that's the end of the episode.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
So if there's only how many more episodes are in this season? 2?
3.
Okay.
3 more. Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to see wow, I want to see what goes on with Riley now that he's kicked out of the initiative. What's going on with Spike and Adam? Adam's going to get wrapped up this season, I'm assuming. 3 more episodes, maybe.
Is season 4 still your favorite or no?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Cool. All right, so
season 5 is your favorite, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm very curious to see what happens in season 5. I have one guess. It's just something that happens that might make it part of your favorite. So.
Okay, I'm going to cover my face so I don't give you anything. What do you think it is?
Buffy and Spike have to get together at some point, so it must be next season.
All right. Shrug.
All right. That was a pretty good poker face, so I really am not sure.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
I'm working on it. All right. So, my favorite quote, I'm going to have 2. I'm going to say that now that we were just talking about that little line that but the line that Willow said about I was waiting, where she says, I was waiting. I feel like some part of me will always be waiting for you. Like if I'm old and blue haired and I turn the corner in Istanbul and there you are, I won't be surprised because you're with me, I love that. That is so sweet. And then I would say it tied with, so that's my serious one. That's my emotional one. And the funny one is Giles says, how did you get in? Spike says, the door was unlocked. You might want to watch that, Rupert. Someone dangerous could get in. And Buffy says, or someone formerly dangerous and currently annoying.
It was funny. Okay, I don't have any serious quotes, but there were a couple that I liked, actually. One was Willow, when Buffy and Willow were talking about Oz. Willow was like, I'm all the woo and the who, but there's uh-oh. And then I also liked... Well, the slap my hand one, obviously, but and then the one you already mentioned, actually, when Spike asks Adam, "You were a Boy Scout?" and Adam's like, "Parts of me."
That was a really good quote. That was good. I liked that.
Yeah.
And then my favorite scene, I would say, was the Willow and Oz goodbye, which is part of that same thing. So
definitely,
that was really good.
That was my favorite too.
Very mature,
very sweet. Yes.
Mature, sad goodbye, but it was sweet.
Bittersweet.
Yeah. You said that was yours too?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I gave it a 4.8. I love that Oz came back. So Marty Noxon says that she feels like Phases, Wild at Heart, and New Moon Rising are kind of like the Oz and Willow trilogy, which are like the Oz and Willow episodes. So I liked that Oz was back and kind of wrapped up his story for now.
Yep.
Willow and Tara seem to be like very much... Obviously, Buffy's the only one that knows. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, and Oz, but he's gone. Like, he's left. So there's more people to tell. There's more like acceptance and how that can all go. But they're out now, basically. Like they're out as a couple now. So we'll see how that goes. And I like that finally that's happened. Yeah. Like you said, like the Spike and Adam alliance makes sense.
See where that goes.
Makes sense for that would happen because Spike's kind of just like a bad guy aimlessly looking for someone that can actually do some damage. Mm-hmm. And like you said as well, Riley's like a free agent now. So what's going to happen there? That's his whole identity. He already like freaked out about it once, if you remember, about kind of questioning the initiative. And now he's like completely possibly be hunted by the initiative. So that's going to be a big change for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, all those are like, except for Oz coming back because now he's gone again. All those are like building blocks. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. I also gave it a 4.8. Yeah. I really liked Oz coming back because I feel like there was that, I don't know the word, but it's just, they like, we had that, we get our closure now. That's what it is. I feel like we got closure because he just up and left. And like, I feel like it wasn't a great way to go about things. I think he could have handled that better. I get it because he was going through a lot but but I still feel like, yeah, he could have handled it better. So for him to come back and like, even though him and Willow aren't going to get back together right now, yeah, I thought that was nice that they finally got their closure and that she can kind of fully, properly move on.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the other things you said too. But I will also add that I like that Buffy and Riley are finally having that conversation about Angel. I thought that's really important because that's going to hopefully progress the relationship too.
That's true. Because like that has been like
it's been hanging on them.
Yeah. It's definitely hanging on Buffy that he doesn't really know the full situation. He doesn't even know part of the situation. He like knows nothing about that situation. So, she's starting to trust him with this stuff now. We will see. All right, so the next episode is called The Yoko Factor, which is an interesting title. You could probably,
I'm guessing,
take some inspiration from that, of what you think it could be about. But, okay, your question is, 2 people cause friction in the group. You can only have to name one of them.
2 people cause friction? Weird. Okay, if it's a Yoko factor, it's got to be somebody's person. I almost want to, like, I mean, people have been together for a while now. Like, Buffy and Riley have been together, and Xander and Anya have been together for a while. So, I mean, I want to say Tara just because she's new, but I don't see how that could possibly be.
Okay.
But I'm going to say Anya. I'm going to say Anya too, because Anya is just kind of annoying.
Anya. Okay. Anya is, I mean, like I said before, like I hated Anya for like years, and now I like kind of.
I don't mind her, but I see her. She's very annoying.
She could get on people's nerves. I don't think I'd want to be friends with her in real life.
No, 100% no.
She would be too much. Okay, so you're Tara, probably not, but you as a backup, you'll say Tara.
I'll say Tara and Anya. Yeah, I don't know. It's got to be one of them.
Okay. All right. The Yoko Factor. So that wraps up episode 19, New Moon Rising. Again, you can find us on all major podcast apps and YouTube and Instagram at One Girl in All the World Pod. You can also email us at onegirlpod@gmail.com. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be back next week with season 4, episode 20, The Yoko Factor. See you real soon.
Bye.
Bye.